So, fans are waiting. A lack of subscribers are waiting for me to go over Survivor Series 2018 in the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, in a forest fire. Let's go over this, because I've been waiting. Hold up. 'Cause I like it silent. I like it silent a lot. We're going to skip over kickoff because there was only one match and hours of build-up for something that they could have built up before a match. And let's just go over this bullcrap of a pay-per-view. So we open off with the Women's Survivor Series tag match with Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, Tamina Snuka. There was two other participants. And they were written off just so they can be baby faces, because an all heel group versus like both heel and baby face kind of makes it obvious who's going to win in round 160. So obviously there was something completely wrong here, because there was lack of superstars. You had Daniel Bryan coming in as WWE champion facing off against Brock Lesnar, so obviously there would be a problem. So obviously, I thought this was just gonna be like at least a few wins. Team SmackDown would win because they're usually the underdog when it comes to events like this, and they came up short, like too short, like a midget versus a man with gigantism, or something like that. Something like that. It's like using a mini mushroom against a fucking gear third from One Piece. This match was There were some decent finishes. I liked some of the moves that was in this. I think everything was too scripted. Asuka had the best move set coming out of the show. I did not like Sasha Banks, even though she had some good moves as well. Sonya Deville got eliminated. Mickie James, Nia Jax was obviously the major reason why Team Raw won in the female one. So, yeah, match. There's some good moves though. Next up was just a backstage segment involving Team Raw. It ended up a pretty occasion because it ended up with R-Truth coming. We had a fucking Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, the Bar, the tag team champions for both brands. So it was the Bar versus the Authors of Pain. It was a shitty match. Maverick. No, it's Drake of Maverick. He pissed himself. It's even issued in a document that I'm witnessing here. I wish I can show you. He pissed himself, folks. There's a lot of stuff that I think WWE thinks they're taking too seriously, and stuff that they're not taking enough seriously. It's stuff like that when you have a grown man pissing himself up because of the Big Show holding him by his neck. And he's not even suspending. It's from the apron to the floor. So a man that can take like a hurricane runner from the top turnbuckle, maybe from outside the goddamn ring, is afraid of a big diabetic choking the life out of him, throwing him off the apron. I don't understand. Anything else was a choppy match. It had the Authors of Pain that's still... And Enzo Amore came in this event. Not really, he wasn't part of the show. He literally, I think, interrupted because, he has a shitty rap career and pretty much his life is a living shithole. So why not try to interrupt the only job that pretty much could have get you a lot of money if you were over? So Enzo was in the event, and that was the biggest thing coming from it, because the Bar only had, like, uppercut, forearm, Big Show. Team Raw won. Authors of Pain won, obviously. So let's just get into the next one, because obviously we didn't have a lot. I'm only going over the major moments that happened on the show, because there was really not that much that impressed me. Except because the second half of the show was much better, but that doesn't mean it was good. Another backstage segment preventing SmackDown. We're not going to go over that because it was just Shane McMahon struggling to pump up a crowd that really didn't care and looked like any of them would combust at any moment. Next up, we had Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali. I did not watch this match. It was a high spot generic match when I got to rewatch it. It was God damn. It's just irrelevancy coming out of the cruiserweight division continues, and why I do not like 205 Live. I don't know why you don't retcon the cruiserweight division. It's not working out. Come on, guys. Gotta be much better ways to go about this. Next, maybe one of the biggest highlights coming out of Survivor Series is obviously the Survivor Series match involving Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, Bobby Lashley versus Team SmackDown that involves The Miz, Shane McMahon, Rey Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe got eliminated first. Anything else is your tongue-in-cheek Survivor Series match. You see a lot of big spots. Shane McMahon nearly killed himself. There was a double stomp on The Miz that it slid and hit his face. And there was a lot of choppy-ass moves. What will you suspect when it came to Braun Strowman literally carrying Team Raw to victory? And Baron Corbin on a feud with nearly anybody that disagrees with him. Like, that's how a GM works if he's just going to be wrestling. So you're not a GM. And he's expecting a higher position the next week on Raw. And it continues like, oh my god. Oh my god. I'm expecting a bigger position on Raw for doing absolutely nothing. Most of the ideas for matches he didn't even create. It's either made by guest appearances or just by the wrestlers themselves. It wasn't Brothers of Destruction and DX that was decided by the GM. They already had a tournament match. Literally, Baron Corbin is a lazy GM because he doesn't involve most of the roster. Unlike Kurt Angle, he involves himself with every part of the divisions, multiple superstars, so he can make matches and have a source of authority. I just thought that he was Kurt Angle was a bit of a pussy when it comes to crap like that, and that's why I didn't like it. I didn't like when Mick Foley was GM. It's it's good when it's a neutral GM or at least a heel GM. What I'm trying to say it's not good having a baby face. And Baron Corbin, that's a wrestler coming out of this that doesn't know how to manage a show, and yet he's GM. It makes no sense to why he even was captain of SmackDown. And just stuff like this when it came to Shane McMahon just dishing the ever living shit out of everything. 619, reverse all over to a power slam. There were some good moves. Segments between Rey Mysterio and Miz, I think, was the best. Shane McMahon tried his gall to use some mat wrestling when it was Dolph Ziggler and Shane McMahon. How it was back at Crown Jewel. Do not watch Crown Jewel. Do not watch Crown Jewel or else you want to die. You're going to die if you watch Crown Jewel. Of boredom, I'm saying. I don't know what you meant by this. This was an alright match. Of course, it had Shane McMahon jumping off a turnbuckle onto a table on Braun Strowman. Anything else came with Team Raw with the victory. I told you 6-0. Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had a champion versus champion match. This was the best match on the show. I'm just going to note it. So, yes, Seth Rollins faced off against Shinsuke Nakamura in a champion versus champion match. For champion versus champion match for both the United States champion and the Intercontinental Championship. Well, it wasn't title defense, it was for bragging rights. You should call it bragging rights. So, what happened? What happened was it was a pretty good match. We had some good reversals. It was fast paced. It was good. It was a good thing. I'm just saying, guys. There's no need for the brand split. There's no need for the brand split to make Nakamura and Seth Rollins a fight to make this a big thing. Cause you're so repetitive on the card anyway. With the way you guys produce your own shows, you can see why it's boring watching Raw for 3 hours. I slept the first hour, and then I was like, "Oh shit, the third hour." It's the same matches. Just be lucky that we started with a 6-man tag and nobody cared. I'm just saying. Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte. Flair. She had to take over for uh, Becky Lynch because of concussion that she suffered over the assault 2 weeks ago on Raw, and it ended up with Ronda Rousey beating the shit out of her. So no, that was a mistake by Nia Jax. She got elbowed right where it looks like the head, and it struck up to her nose as well. So it came up with a bit of an injury, so she was unable to compete. So Charlotte Flair took her place that she addressed on SmackDown for the final week. It ended in disqualification, and Charlotte Flair somehow wanted to end this in a no contest. I think they're supposed to build up on SmackDown. That's what Becky Lynch would have done. I mean, there was no reason why this even could have happened. Anything else, I think they're supposed to build up something. I don't care at all. I mean, it was brutally assault. But remember, these people are still in two different brands. If Charlotte and Ronda, I think that should have been a better feud to watch. Then I think Nia Jax still has the championship opportunity against Ronda Rousey. I'd rather watch Charlotte Flair in that type of energy, in that type of aggression, in that type of violence, than watching Nia Jax struggle to run the ropes for 20 minutes trying to think that she can produce a pretty good match. And I hate Nia Jax. I really do hate her. Anything else, we had some good moves. It was good segments. Charlotte Flair, there was no need to even disqualify because I thought she was pretty much dominating the first opening of the match until they were going back and forth for quite a while. Yet, Michael Cole still wanted to say, it's a stalemate. It's a stalemate. It's a stalemate. The fuck is wrong with you? Call a match. It wasn't near the conclusion. It was like warming up. Both women were outside until Ronda Rousey wanted to come out because I think she had the upper hand with an armbar. Both these women were out until she grabbed a kendo stick and beat the ever-living shit out of her. Nearly grabbed the chair, and it was a disqualification. So, my opinion, it was a match. It could have been better, but I understand. I don't know what the fuck they're building up. And looking into this website that I'm looking up on, like CBS, they rate the matches. They give it through an A, B, and seeing nothing through an AC. They gave Ronda Rousey and I think Charlotte Flair a high rating for no fucking reason. They gave it an A minus, even though it's a no contest. Why? Plus, I do this so I can stay in order, because obviously, whenever I remember a pay-per-view, like I did, like, was it Crown Jewel? Or else, like, my NFL recaps, it's out of order. Like, I'll do, like, from 4 o'clock, 1 o'clock, then 8 o'clock, and I don't like being like that. So I think it's the best option for me. Plus, we had a champion versus champion match against our world champions representing the brands. It would be SmackDown, Daniel Bryan after beating AJ Styles. They'll go home show before Survivor Series against Brock Lesnar that recently won the Universal Championship back at Crown Jewel against Braun Strowman when it was vacant because of Roman Reigns' issue. If you didn't hear about his leukemia, he'll get well soon. So, this match, dominant Brock Lesnar beating the ever-living shit out of him until Daniel Bryan's best move in his arsenal. Kicking somebody at the dick, kicking somebody at the dick. 5 stars. 5 stars. I just want to say 5 stars because obviously that's how you people rate your matches and how you think a wrestling match is good now. Because, showing his character, selling a few moves, even though it looked like, oh, I got hit. And they're comparing this to the SummerSlam beatdown about what happened to John Cena, even though John Cena, I think he kicked out of like like 5 F5s or something. He got a lot of. It was really stiff. It wasn't that stiff. It was really fucked up hits, belly to belly suplexes, a lot of F5s, and being ever living shit. It felt like bullying instead of actually dominating him inside the ring. Because that's literally Brock Lesnar's arsenal. He'll do a few stiff hits. He'll do a few stiff hits, jabs, forearms off the ground. He'll do a forearm. He'll do a few punches, laugh it up, say, "Oh, dang!" Or scream some random dumb shit. He's a roided out albino. And Paul Heyman's still gonna shout like a fucking retard, like he knows how to actually manage a wrestler now. Thanks. Mainly what is notable for is managing CM Punk that was already successful without Paul Heyman and Big Show. Then he immediately goes back to Brock Lesnar years later. And they were already having a success before Paul Heyman, so just having him around speaks volumes and how much you have confidence in Brock Lesnar's promo or speaking ability, even though he seems like an intelligent man that can speak words by himself without having a man that ran his own professional wrestling fed to the ground, and pretty much ECW is now a forgotten commodity that's only remembered by a few hardcore fans and a few fans that actually watched WWE for at least a couple of years, because obviously Paul Heyman should have nothing to do with the WWE now. And seeing this match, it was kind of hard to watch, obviously, because, Daniel Bryan was heel, and Brock Lesnar is technically heel, even though he doesn't show up consistently on Raw or SmackDown, thinks he's a bigger star than that. I don't know why I said SmackDown, but still, you don't understand why I did not like this event. TakeOver was better? Yeah, TakeOver was better. There were better performances, there was better build-ups to matches. NXT's good at that. I just thought that their show would be a bit better, like their minor shows. The Wednesday shows would be a lot more better, a lot more build up, a few more backstage segments. Because I know they're always on the mid card, the opener, and the main event that I think a show should go to. But I think more characterization, even though it's a developmental brand, I shouldn't be having more expectations for NXT than I am for their main show from Raw and SmackDown. I'm just saying, folks. Seeing how hardcore fans be about this, I'd rather watch an NXT event so bad right now than watch a fucking Crown Jewel pay-per-view, Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, Fastlane, Roadblock, any of these retarded names that have no actual resemblance to what the pay-per-view is trying to intake, because it's a pay-per-view. So, just make different stages, make different fucking anything. This match was it had Daniel Bryan coming back, even though he's a heel, who kicked the man at the dick. And they're trying to, compare this to Goldberg and Brock Lesnar's back in 2017, even though it was surprising. We knew John Cena was going to lose against Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Thinks it was a one-on-one match. John Cena couldn't, in the ring, he couldn't think of a different strategies, different weapons how to use. That's how he beat Brock Lesnar. And it wasn't clean because it was an Extreme Rules match. He had to win. And he had a one-on-one clean match against him. At SummerSlam, and he got his ass beaten. Daniel Bryan, obviously, he could have lost to anybody because of how scrawny, how, bad he is, how inefficient he is to face a man that's over his height, over his muscles, over his speed, just better than him in any other way. Brock Lesnar can beat the ever-living shit out of Daniel Bryan. Half the locker room in real life, if Brock Lesnar wanted to, if that was in his head right now. Anything else, side note, I thought NXT was disappointing in my opinion. Yeah, you're gonna hear that from me. Even though I love NXT, I did not like any of the matches. So I just wanted to say that, even though War Games was entertaining, it just sucks that just rewatch the pay-per-view and you get to see a lot of nitpicks. Just rewatch the show if you have the network, if there's any illegal streaming that you're able to go to in any website, or if it comes out on disc. on, like, if you're in your local Walmart or something. Do something. Buy it. No one's stopping you. Enzo Amore coming out to the show. No one's buying your mixtape on the WWEshop.com. I'm just saying. Just saying, Enzo. Can't find work? Fuck you. I'm sorry. It's a mediocre. It's sad to say that. I don't want mediocre ratings anymore. It's really sad to hear this because, like, Enzo came wearing his Bada Boom realist guy in the room. He wore his old shirt that he used to wear on Raw. I'm shocked Kaz isn't there with his beer belly now. Thinks he's out of shape. And holy shit, Enzo Amore came on Survivor Series in California, where obviously he is to make his rap music. So why wouldn't he make a presence and get forcefully escorted by security, disturbing the show after a boring tag match? So obviously, 5 stars. I'm just saying. So, for most of the show, overall gets a 4 out of 10. Because it was just boring wrestling. There were some good sparks of moves, but making, like, 3 good moves, 3 memorable moves in a show doesn't make the match good. Doesn't make the show good. There's no build up. The only thing that's gonna be paying attention to for the entire show is Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. And they think of, like, 2015 never happened. Thanks, Roman Reigns has leukemia, and WWE has no good characters to actually make different conflicts interesting anymore. I pray for you if you watched Raw, or if you're going to watch SmackDown. That sounds more entertaining than watching Raw. Thinks Raw's going to be 3 hours of Borfest, 3 commercial matches, and a lackluster characterization in their show. They have nobody to pick up the pace. When it came to back in the early 2000s, back to mid 2000s, back when the brand split, who do you have that can carry a show? Instead of Elias Sampson with the stupid ass music and wrestling ability and Braun Strowman screaming and no one else in the show except if Triple H wants to come or Undertaker, you had Jericho, Christian, John Cena, Triple H, Randy Orton, most of Evolution, because I'm lazy, Kane, Rob Van Dam, most of the mid card, etc. The women, and Eric Bischoff. That was an interesting and a hateable character, but those were characters. Those were guys that you would like to see. You can't wait to see on Raw. You can't wait to see Rob Van Dam on Raw. You wouldn't mind seeing Jamie Noble, La Resistance, Hurricane. I feel old as fuck. Yo, anything else? The show was boring. It's a few good matches. It was good to see some harsh violence come out of Charlotte, though. I'll give it a point up on that, but it still gets a 4 out of 10. I thought most of the matches were predictable. SmackDown's utter performance on Survivor Series, just bragging rights rip-off pay-per-view, even though it's Survivor Series, and I thought Survivor Series was built on sure star power like the other top 4 pay-per-views. Like SummerSlam was built on star power. WrestleMania was built on star power, and so was fucking Royal Rumble is supposed to build on star power. And SummerSlam, oh my god, it was just bad. This pay-per-view was bad, and I hope you folks don't think, oh, all because of a little character shift, Charlotte Flair. She's still gonna be the same bitch that's still gonna use her birthright, use a queen gimmick, and they might do something conflicting on SmackDown for tonight. So I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you.